So you got a couple of 1911 magazines, and you want to clean them up. You want to, do a little maintenance, a little service on them. But you look and you go, hey, wait a second. They've got welded up bases on them. I can't get the base plate off. Well, you're absolutely right. You can't. Everything's going to have to come out the top. We can clean that follower, clean the spring, clean the magazine body, just by taking this apart, coming out the top. And I'll show you how to do it. Let's see if we can take this bad boy apart. This is the old GI style. It says 45 ACP there on the side, but this is what you're going to see. It's a solid one-piece follower. I'm going to take what's actually half of a clothespin. I'm going to depress that follower down, and then I want to take my pin or my punch, and I want to capture the magazine spring, but not the follower. So there, I took the tension off that follower. I've captured the magazine spring. Now I can probably just kind of wiggle this. There we go, the whole thing. There's my follower. Came right out, and it's not that bad. It's not that dirty. All right, so now get the spring out. I can hold that spring down with my finger. Let's pull the punch out. Now this whole spring will just come right out. Remember the orientation of it? We got the big loop towards what would be the back of the magazine, and that little loop's going to be up towards the front. All right, so there's our magazine body. Let's get this cleaned up. I've got a slotted tip. We'll put a couple of patches in there. I've got, probably three patches here. Using just a bore brush is going to be a little bit too small to get the inside of that magazine. I do have a 45 caliber bore brush, but I want to get something a little bit bigger. So we're gonna swab it out with the patches here on that slotted tip. And that's really not that bad. Wasn't bad at all, really. All right, we'll set that aside. Now the magazine spring we can hit with the brush. Clean any kind of debris or dirt off the spring. And then what I like to do is take just like an old oily rag, or a clean oily rag, and just kind of wipe down the spring. So now I'm not putting any oil or any kind of grease or anything like that in the magazine, but I am going to there's going to be a fine, very thin coat of oil on the spring now just from that oily rag. You could use a silicone, impregnated cloth if you want to wipe this down, or a little CLP on a rag would be nice too. All right, so we've got our cleaned up spring, we've got our cleaned up body. Let's put it all back together. Now this time I'm just going to push it down with my finger. We'll get that spring back in there. I'll push it down with my finger. Again, try to capture that spring, take some of the tension off of it. And we're just going to feed this follower in, get it to go behind the spring there. I could have compressed that spring. Let's compress that spring a little bit more. Just make a little more hole on it. I have to go back to my clothespin. All right, so I've got the clothespin pushing it down. I can get that in there better than get my fingers in there. Here we go. All right, so now I got plenty of room. We'll put our follower in, get it oriented right. Now I can hold it down with my finger. We'll pull that punch out, and there we go. We're back in business. There's a clean magazine, ready to be loaded and taken to the range or stored in the safe. Back in business.